Welcome to another Soccer Down Here 1v1. Time to catch up with the Birmingham Legion. And for that, figured we'd catch up with the local guy, Chandler Hoffman, forward for your Birmingham Legion. Chandler, thanks for hanging out with us here on SDH.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Okay. If I was to tell you when you were at Oak Mountain High School that you would have a USL Championship team in your town 10 years later, what would you have told me as a high school junior or senior?
I would say, are you sure you're talking about the right football? Because there's no way that I would have thought professional soccer would be in Birmingham. So to 10 years later be in this position, it's still, I have to pinch myself, honestly.
What's the response been like? I guess let's take it in stages. First and foremost, you're kind of away from it with the Monarchs, and then the announcement is made. What was your initial reaction to soccer being announced in town with the Legion?
Well, originally, like my mind thought, wow, what a cool story and opportunity that would be to be able to come back home. But it was something like I feel at that time I was really thinking I'm in the prime of my career. I want to make sure that it's a move that makes sense for me, apart from just being a cool story, that it would still be something that made sense for me from a professional standpoint. But I knew that it in the back of my head that it was something that if there was a way to make it happen, would be something that's kind of a once in a lifetime type of thing.
And to see it grow and evolve to where there's actual practices and venues and schedules and teammates, has it sunk in or is it still kind of a whirlwind?
Still kind of a whirlwind going out we're training out where I grew up training. So being back on that field some 20 years later, it's pretty crazy, like just something that at the time when I was growing up, I was like, man, I'm going to have to go somewhere else to do what I love, to now be able to come back and really help kind of push the needle in my hometown is a really unique opportunity.
I mean, I don't want to necessarily use the word role model, but it might still apply. I guess as someone who's the hometown guy, who's at the forefront of everything, is there added responsibility that you see as the hometown guy to make sure that the message is told correctly, that the everyone that you can reach out to is reached out to? What's is being the front man, I guess? What's it like being the front man, I guess, by default?
Well, once they hired Jay Heaps, I knew that the Legion was serious and wanted to do things the right way. And after speaking with the ownership group, they kind of pitched their vision to me and what they wanted. And like Birmingham is not an affiliate, we're not a second team. And so for me, that was really important for this to be Birmingham's team and to be able to be the face and to have the opportunity to help push soccer forward, which I feel like I've felt that responsibility since I went and kind of did what no one had done, going to UCLA and being the highest draft pick from Alabama, and kind of seeing this next generation of kids. Like you see Chris Richards signs with Bayern Munich. You see JJ Williams was drafted in the first round, all Alabama kids. So I feel that responsibility since I left for college, but now it's something that I want, and I want to be able for kids to come to the Legion game and see, man, that could be me one day, and to continue to push Alabama and Birmingham to a whole different level, and I think this gives us the platform to do that.
And what has, for those who aren't there in the 205, what's the outreach been like? Is it going to Hoover? Is it going to the suburbs and seeing everybody and reaching out to camps and things like that? What has the outreach been since you've been there?
I think the main thing is like you're saying, is getting in touch with all the clubs. We want to have, obviously guys have only been here for 8 or 9 days now, but from the first meeting that we had down at the office downtown, it was that we're going to be a part of the community and we're going to be doing clinics, camps. We're going to be in the local hospitals. We're going to be Birmingham's team, and we're going to be involved more so than just on the field, but in the community. And so that's something that I'm really excited to see how that kind of shapes and plays itself out over the coming months.
And how many of the guys, and for those who, follow the New England Revolution, there are ties there obviously with Jay bringing in players, and a guy like Mikey Lopez with NYCFC and all that kind of stuff. Have you turned into the pseudo tour guide where you sit there and you're recommending restaurants and stores and foods and everything? What are you wearing that hat for the guys in the locker room too?
Somewhat. I mean, the crazy thing is seeing how the city has grown because I left in 2009 to go off to UCLA, and so the 10 years that I've been gone, downtown has really been rising up. You see all these little different areas. The food scene is growing a lot. So for me, it's kind of getting back into it and understanding kind of how the city and the culture has shifted in Birmingham, and parts like when I was growing up that I would never really venture to now is like they're thriving, and it's awesome to see with Mayor Woodfin kind of what he's doing for Birmingham.
What'd you miss the most?
Well, apart from my family being here, there's just something about coming back home and feeling a level of comfort and knowing, like you're saying, where your high school is right down the street, or where one of your favorite restaurants is. So having that ability to be back with people that I grew up with and that kind of helped shape me and mold who I am today, to be able to play in front of them is something I'm really looking forward to.
And at the same time, you're back home, but you've been to, all right, let me see if I got this correct. Panama City, Orange County, Philadelphia, Harrisburg, Galaxy, Houston, Colorado Springs, Lou City, Salt Lake City.
Yep, you hit them all.
Having been in all of those places, what's it been like for you to see the sport grow to where it is, not just in the Southeast, which is kind of the genesis of part of this talk that we're having, but in all of these places, decade to see the sport grow to where it is?
It's been incredible. Back to when I was a high school player, when I was first starting out in MLS, and the USL was kind of the modern era was kind of in its infancy, and really not sure like if it was going to survive to where it is now, where there's 30 plus teams. You have household names like Didier Drogba and Joe Cole playing in the league. You have places like Sacramento and FC Cincinnati last year getting 13,000 and 20,000 plus fans. It's just MLS and USL, and now you have the League Two, which will be the third division, or I mean League One, which will be the third division, League Two, which is the old PDL. It's just there's so many more opportunities for players to play in this league and for it to be a professional environment, which I think 5 or 6 years ago was not available. So having that ability for high level soccer in the US on multiple levels is really cool to see, and I'm excited that I get to continue to see it grow.
In the conversations that your teammates have had and that you've had with the front office and with Jay Heaps, expectations for this season on the field would be what?
Well, from day one, Tommy has come in and he said he wants to be a team that plays an attacking brand of soccer and that presses teams high up the field, and he wants to win championships. And if you look at most of the places he's coached, they've been incredibly successful. So I think he's brought in some older, experienced guys, like myself and Eric Avila and even Mikey Lopez and then Diego Kobayashi the other day. So I think there's guys that know what it takes to win, and that's the expectation from year one, is that there's not going to be an excuse that we're in a franchise and that a new franchise and that we're learning on the fly. It's that we have guys that have been there and done it, and we got to bring along the new players as well.
And my last question for you, and thanks for hanging out with us, is anyone or can anyone challenge the beard of Matt Van Oekel?
I don't think so. The way that thing grows in is it's a beauty to behold, and I don't think anyone's going to be touching him and his beard gang this season.
Figured we'd ask because we're going to be keeping an eye on that too. Once again, Chandler Hoffman, forward coming home for the Birmingham Legion. Chandler, thanks for hanging out with us here on Soccer Down Here for another 1v1. Obviously, we'll be keeping an eye on what's going on. Friendly's just around the corner. Season starts before you know it. Once again, thanks for hanging out with us here on SDH.
Yep, thanks for having me.